Well, hello, boys and girls. Today we're going to have a story from the Bible about a very brave woman who dared to do what she thought was right. She was a Jew, and her country had been conquered by the Persians and all taken into custody. Now, the king of Persia was looking for a new bride to be his queen, and he decided to have a competition, and that competition was to find the most beautiful woman in the whole land. Out of all the hundreds of women he saw, he chose Esther, who was a Jew. So let us open the book now and read the story, Esther Was a Star. Esther was a star, a beautiful Jewish girl chosen by the king of Persia to be his queen. Esther had an uncle called Mordecai, who was very kind. When Esther's parents died, he raised her as his own daughter. When she was made queen, he warned her not to tell the king that she had come from one of his captive lands. And so the king was clueless. He loved Queen Esther, but he did not know she was a Jew. Haman was horrible. He was the king's right-hand man, and he loved nothing as much as pushing people around. One day, Haman was walking through the city when he met some of the king's other servants. "Bow before me," horrible Haman commanded. And they all bowed, all except for Mordecai. "I will bow before no one but God," said Mordecai. Haman was furious and went straight to the king to seek his revenge. "There is a troublesome race of people in our land," he said, "who worship a different God, and they are the Jews. Your Majesty, give me your permission and I will do away with them." The king was clueless. So he told horrible Haman to kill every Jew in the land, not knowing that he was condemning his own queen. When Mordecai heard the news, he went to see Esther. "Go to the king," he said, "and do what you can to save us." "But I have to wait for the king to invite me into his presence," Esther explained. "If I go to him without his invitation, the law of the Persians says that he has the right to kill me." "You must go anyway," said Mordecai, "whatever the risk. God puts people in places at just the right time so they can do what he wants. God has put you in the palace to save your people." Esther was a star. So Esther went to see the king, and far from being angry, the king was delighted to see her. "What do you want, my darling?" he said. "I want to have a dinner party," said Esther, "and I want to invite your right-hand man, Haman." The king agreed. The date was set, and horrible Haman was happy. He'd been building a horrible hanging machine in his garden when he hoped to murder Mordecai, and the queen's invitation made him happier still. But when he got to the party, horrible Haman was suddenly not so happy. "Someone wants to see me dead, and not only me, but all my people too," said the queen. "Who is this person?" shouted the king. "Tell me, and he will soon be dead instead." "There he is," said Esther, and she pointed at Haman. "I don't understand," Haman trembled. "I have nothing against you." "Yes, you do," said Esther, "for I am a Jew, and you mean to kill us all." The king was no longer clueless. He saw everything clearly now. He loved his queen. He did not care that she was a Jew. but he was very angry with Haman. "Put him to death," the king ordered. So Haman was hanged on his very own hanging machine. But Esther and Mordecai and all their people live on to return to their own land, all because Esther was a star. Well, that was a very good story. Esther was very brave to enter the king's presence without his invitation and do the right thing. And because of that, Esther and Mordecai and all their people were saved. Just imagine what would have happened if Esther hadn't been that brave to do what was right. Now, Esther's uncle, Mordecai, was wise to see that God had placed her in the palace at just the right time. He encouraged Esther to trust God and speak to the king. So just close your eyes for a moment and think about the times when you were scared to speak out. Perhaps God can help you to be brave just like Esther was. So now I'm going to say a prayer, and if you want that prayer to be your own, say Amen after me. Dear God, Esther must have been very scared going to see the king. Thank you that you helped her when she was frightened. When we are frightened, please help us to speak out too. Amen.